quick tutorial where I walk you through the steps of what I've done to this image. So I'm going to show you the before and after, the total before and after of what I did first. So this was the original image that I began editing, and this is the final image where I arrived at. So before and after. And the first thing that I did is extend the image. So as you can see, it was like this before, even like this. So I stretched this area by selecting it with the marquee tool and stretching it with the move tool. So just created this layer, and then I copied and pasted some areas that were working on this side. So for example, I selected some flowers from here and I flipped them and I inserted them on this side. So probably I think this one is like from here somewhere. So I used the information that I had on this side and I copied and pasted it on this side. And the next thing that I did is dodge and burn on the skin, the arms, and a little bit on the shirt, I think. So I will show you the before and after of the dodge and burn. So this is before and this is after. So I mainly cleaned up the skin, the patchiness of some areas. As you can see, it's more unified, and I brightened up the face a little bit as well. And then I moved on to color grading and color correcting the image. So I'm going to show you. The first thing that I did is increase the exposure because it was a little dark. And then I went on to selective color, and by selective color I've changed the color of the flowers and the skin tones mainly. So I made the flowers pop a little more and the skin tones make them a little warmer as well. So for the flowers, these two colors worked for the flowers, so it's blues and magentas, and by magentas I increased it to +7 on the cyan, plus on the magenta, minus on the yellow, and I darkened them a little so we had a little more detail in the flowers. And on the blues I increased it to 15% and 16 on magenta, -9 on yellow, and quite a bit on the blacks, maybe a little too much even. I might lower it right now. So yeah, that's nice. I think it made it pop quite a lot. So on the reds, and your reds mainly affect your skin tone, so I lowered the cyans a little to make it warmer, increase the magenta and the yellows a little bit. So that's it about the selective color. And then I did a brightness and contrast adjustment, and I mainly increased the brightness and the contrast on the flowers and on the skin tone, and I deleted it from the background by using a mask. And if you don't know how to use a mask, I have many videos in which I explain how I do this and ensure that an adjustment only affects a certain area. So you can head over there and see how I do that. And then I increased the vibrance, and I did another selective color adjustment again on the flowers and the skin. And these are really tiny adjustments, so maybe you can't even see it on your screen, but it just adds a little bit to the photograph. And I like to do it on layers, so it's working. And here I added a gradient map, which is a purpley color that goes from dark to light. And I brought it down to 5% opacity, and I set the blend mode to saturation, and it kind of gave it a beautiful pop. It made the eyeshadow and the skirt, the yellow and the orange look of it combine well with the blueness and the purpley color of the flowers. So it harmonized the image is what I want to say. So then I moved on to color balance, and I worked on shadows first. So I increased the blueness and I added a little more magenta, and then on the highlights I added some warmness by combining yellow and red, which give me some orangey looks on the highlights. And the midtones I increased the blue and the magentas a little more. And then I added a lens filter, which combined everything in the photograph again really nicely. And the lens filter is the default color, which is the orange, as you can see, and I lowered the opacity a little bit. And then I'm moving on to channel mixer, and this is where we get a lot of effect, as you can see. So before I did this layer, I thought the image was a little too warm, too yellowy, and once I adjusted it with the channel mixer, it made it a little more I think cooled down and a little more natural. So I worked on the blues, I increased the blues a little, and I worked with the reds, increased the reds and increased the blues on this layer as well. But I deleted it from the face because I didn't want it to affect the face in any way. It made it really cool, and as you can see, it took out all the warmness from the face. So I deleted it from the face, but it affects everything else in the photograph. And another selective color adjustment, doing the same thing over and over again to create a nice natural gradual increase in what I want. And shadows and highlights, so I lifted the shadows a little to see a little more detail in the hair, and I increased the highlights to create a nice 3D effect in the photograph. So I increased the exposure once more, and I lowered the warm tones of the photograph a little by decreasing it and moving it in the blue direction. And then another brightness and layer contrast, vibrance adjustment. I increased the vibrance a little bit. So I'm not playing too much with the saturation. I just increased it like 1%. I don't know if you even can notice that, but I don't like to use the saturation tool quite a bit. So I increased the exposure once more and the brightness contrast once more. And these last 3 adjustments are mainly for Instagram. And I set the background to white, and I made the image quite small, like a smartphone screen. And I see now clearly that these 3 adjustments really make the image pop on a screen like that. So that's mainly for Instagram. And when I want to export this image, I go to File, Export, and I go to More on my settings. And when I get there, so I'm on JPEG, I have RGB 8-bit, which is important, and I select B cubic because it makes the image a little sharper than you need it, and once you transfer it to your phone or whatever, upload it, you still get some nice sharpness and detail in your image. And your ICC profile should be sRGB, which is used by many websites and social media like Instagram, Facebook, and some much more other websites. So the important thing here is to use this box here to have it ticked in, because embed ICC profile will ensure that the information will be embedded into the photograph and will be translated and used on your smartphone as well, so that you don't get like too warm or strange colors once you have the photograph on your smartphone. And quality is at 100, so I close and I say export, and you're done. Thank you for watching. I hope this short video was helpful. If you've liked it, please hit subscribe and like this video. And thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!